What if the secret to a fulfilling life isn't in doing more, achieving more, or even caring more, but in letting go? In a world that constantly tells us to chase happiness, seek approval, and control every aspect of our lives, we've become prisoners of our own expectations. We cling to perfection, avoid discomfort, and obsess over what others think. Yet, despite all our efforts, we often feel emptier than ever. The art of caring. Les invites you to break free from this cycle. It's not about indifference, it's about intentionality, choosing what truly matters, letting go of what doesn't, and finding peace in imperfection. Through this journey, you'll discover that caring less doesn't mean living less. It means living more authentically, purposefully, and on your own terms. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. Have you ever caught yourself endlessly replaying a scenario in your mind, thinking, if only I had done this differently? Or maybe you've spent sleepless nights worrying about something entirely out of your hands, a decision someone else made, an outcome you couldn't influence, or a future that hasn't even arrived. This is the illusion of control at work, a silent thief that steals your peace and convinces you that life can be mastered if you just try hard enough. At its core, the illusion of control stems from fear. Uncertainty makes us uneasy, and we instinctively seek to tame it. Our brains, wired for survival, crave predictability. We want to believe that if we think hard enough, plan meticulously, or act perfectly, we can prevent bad things from happening. But here's the hard truth. Control is often a comforting lie. Life is unpredictable by nature. Relationships end, plans fail, people get sick, and despite our best efforts, we are at the mercy of forces far greater than ourselves. Yet, instead of accepting this reality, we double down on our obsession. We micromanage, we overthink, we spiral into anxiety, believing that the more we grasp for control, the safer we'll feel. But the opposite is true. The tighter we hold on, the more fragile we become. Imagine clinging to sand in your hands. Grip it too tightly, and it slips through your fingers. Control, like sand, isn't something we can ever truly hold. So, if control is an illusion, what's the alternative? Acceptance. Not the passive kind that resigns you to a life of mediocrity, but an active, courageous acceptance that says, I am okay with not knowing. Acceptance is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's acknowledging that while you can't dictate life's outcomes, you can control your perspective. It's understanding that perfection is a myth and uncertainty is a given. Think about nature. A river doesn't resist the rocks in its path. It flows around them. It adapts, carves new routes, and continues moving forward. In the same way, we can learn to navigate uncertainty without resistance. We can let go of the need to control every twist and turn and instead focus on how we respond to them. But how do we begin this shift? 1. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to live in the present moment, rather than obsessing over the past or fearing the future. When you find yourself spiraling into what-ifs or should-haves, pause and ask, what can I control right now? Often, the answer is simple: your attitude, your next step, or the way you treat others. 2. Embrace imperfection. Society glorifies perfection, flawless bodies, spotless resumes, ideal lives shared on social media. But perfection is an illusion, just like control. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you free yourself from impossible expectations. You start to see mistakes as opportunities and imperfections as the marks of a life well lived. 3. Let go of the need for answers. Not every question has a solution, and that's okay. Uncertainty is not a void to be filled, but a reality to be embraced. The most profound growth often happens not when you find answers, but when you learn to sit with questions. There's an undeniable freedom in surrendering to what is. When you stop obsessing over things you can't change, you reclaim the energy you once wasted on worry and frustration. This newfound energy can be redirected toward what truly matters: your passions, relationships, and personal growth. Consider this. How many hours have you spent agonizing over the opinions of others? How many dreams have you shelved because you feared failure? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving yourself permission to move forward without carrying the weight of the uncontrollable. Letting go isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's reminding yourself, every time anxiety creeps in, that you don't have to control the storm. You just need to learn how to dance in the rain. Imagine looking at your life as a garden. You can't control the weather, the pests, or even the quality of the soil. But you can plant seeds, water them, and pull out weeds. You can nurture what you've been given, and trust that growth will happen in its own time. In the same way, when you stop fixating on what's beyond your control, you create space for what truly matters: connection, creativity, and peace. You learn that happiness isn't found in controlling life's outcomes, but in embracing its unpredictability. The illusion of control is a powerful force, but it's not insurmountable. Every time you release your grip on something you can't change, you take a step closer to freedom. Every time you accept uncertainty instead of fearing it, you become stronger. This isn't about surrendering to chaos. It's about finding balance. Life is a dance between effort and letting go, between action and acceptance. Mastering this dance is what sets you free. Chapter 2. Choosing your battles wisely. Every day we're faced with countless decisions: what to focus on, where to invest our time, and what to care about. The truth is, not all battles are worth fighting, yet many of us spend our energy on things that drain us, things that don't truly matter in the grand scheme of life. Choosing your battles wisely is about recognizing the difference between the noise of life and the signals that genuinely deserve your attention. In a culture that glorifies busyness and multitasking, we often confuse activity with purpose. We chase productivity, pile on responsibilities, and take on every challenge, believing that saying yes to everything will lead to fulfillment. But here's the paradox. The more battles you fight, the more diluted your energy becomes. To identify what truly matters, you must pause and ask yourself 3 critical questions. 1. Does this align with my values? Values are the compass that guide your life. If a conflict, project, or task doesn't resonate with your core beliefs, it's likely not worth your energy. Think of your values as filters. Only what passes through them deserves your focus. 2. Will this matter a year from now? So much of what we stress over is fleeting: a snide comment, a minor setback, or a temporary inconvenience. Imagine looking back on this situation a year from now. If it won't matter then, why let it consume your time and energy now? 3. Is this within my control? Fighting battles you can't win is a guaranteed way to exhaust yourself. Instead, focus on what you can influence: your actions, your mindset, and your responses to challenges. Let go of the rest. By answering these questions honestly, you can begin to separate the meaningful from the trivial. Life is noisy. Emails flood our inboxes, social media demands our attention, and society bombards us with expectations. If you don't consciously decide what matters to you, the world will decide for you, and it won't always be in your best interest. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's not about being rude or dismissive. It's about setting boundaries that protect your time and energy. Every time you say no to something unimportant, you're saying yes to something meaningful. Here are some ways to master the art of saying no. 1. Be clear about your priorities. When you know what truly matters, it becomes easier to decline anything that distracts you from those priorities. 2. Don't fear disappointing others. Saying no might upset people, but constantly saying yes at the expense of your own well-being is far more damaging. Remember, you're not responsible for everyone's happiness. 3. Practice polite refusal. A simple, "Thank you, but I can't commit to this right now," is enough. You don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation. 4. Recognize the cost of yes. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Consider what you're sacrificing before agreeing to new commitments. By learning to say no, you can reclaim your focus and invest it where it counts. Saying no to noise is only half the equation. To live a meaningful life, you must also say yes to the people, projects, and passions that align with your values. But how do you know what's worth a yes? Start by examining where you feel most alive. What activities energize you? What relationships bring you joy? What challenges excite you? These are the areas where your yes will have the greatest impact. Your priorities should reflect not only your goals, but also your identity. They should align with the person you aspire to be, not just the person others expect you to be. Think of your attention as a beam of light. When scattered, it illuminates very little. But when concentrated, it becomes a powerful force. By choosing your battles wisely, you focus your energy where it can create the most impact. History is full of examples of individuals who mastered the art of focus. Think of entrepreneurs who revolutionized industries, activists who changed the course of history, or artists who created timeless masterpieces. They didn't try to do everything. They focused on what mattered most to them. You don't need to be extraordinary to follow their example. You simply need to commit to what matters and let go of what doesn't. Choosing your battles wisely isn't just about saving time. It's about protecting your emotional well-being. Every unnecessary conflict or task you take on weighs on your mind and heart. It creates stress, frustration, and resentment, all of which erode your peace. Consider the emotional toll of holding grudges, arguing over trivial matters, or trying to please everyone. Now imagine what life would feel like if you let go of those burdens. Choosing your battles isn't about giving up. It's about rising above. Choosing your battles wisely is an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that your time, energy, and happiness are valuable. It's about living with intention rather than reacting to life's chaos. Imagine a life where every decision, commitment, and conflict reflects what truly matters to you. Imagine the peace of knowing you're not wasting energy on things that don't deserve it. That life is possible, but only if you have the courage to choose. In the end, the battles you fight shape your life. Fight too many, and you'll burn out. Fight too few, and you may never grow. But choose your battles wisely, and you'll find a balance that leads to peace, purpose, and fulfillment. The next time life asks for your attention, pause and ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting? Then, let your answer guide you. Chapter 3. The Power of Discomfort. We live in a society that glorifies comfort. Advertisements promise quick fixes, apps deliver instant gratification, and the culture at large urges us to avoid struggle at all costs. But here's the paradox. The more we chase comfort, the more uncomfortable our lives become. The avoidance of discomfort breeds stagnation, fear, and dissatisfaction, while leaning into discomfort often unlocks resilience, growth, and fulfillment. Avoidance feels like a solution, but it's a trap. When we sidestep discomfort, we don't eliminate it, we merely postpone it. Worse, we often magnify it. Think of procrastination. Delaying a task may bring temporary relief, but it also creates guilt and stress that grow with time. Similarly, avoiding difficult conversations can preserve surface-level peace, but leads to deeper misunderstandings and resentment. The truth is, avoiding pain doesn't make life easier, it makes it harder. Growth requires friction, just as muscles need tension to grow stronger. Every time you avoid discomfort, you rob yourself of the chance to build resilience. Consider this. How often do you avoid trying something new because you fear failure? How often do you stay in situations that no longer serve you because change feels daunting? These small acts of avoidance compound over time, creating a life that feels safe but unfulfilling. Discomfort isn't just something to endure, it's something to embrace. Within struggle lies the potential for transformation. The most meaningful growth often emerges from our most challenging experiences. 1. Discomfort expands your comfort zone. Think of the first time you tried something difficult, perhaps public speaking, learning a new skill, or stepping outside your comfort zone in a relationship. It was uncomfortable, maybe even terrifying. But with practice, it became easier. What once felt impossible now feels routine. This is the power of discomfort. It stretches your limits, expanding what you believe you're capable of. 2. Discomfort builds resilience. Life will throw challenges your way, whether you embrace them or not. By voluntarily seeking discomfort, through challenges, risks, and hard work, you build the mental and emotional fortitude to face adversity when it comes. You don't just survive, you thrive. 3. Discomfort deepens self-awareness. Struggle often reveals what truly matters to us. When you face challenges, you're forced to confront your fears, desires, and values. Discomfort acts as a mirror, showing you who you are and who you want to become. The key to harnessing the power of discomfort is not to avoid it, but to change how you perceive it. Instead of seeing struggle as a threat, view it as an opportunity. Instead of fearing failure, see it as a teacher. Here are practical ways to reframe discomfort. 1. Focus on the process, not the outcome. When you approach discomfort as a learning experience rather than a means to an end, you take the pressure off. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to grow. 2. Practice gratitude for challenges. It may sound counterintuitive, but expressing gratitude for struggles can shift your mindset. Instead of saying, "Why me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" 3. Celebrate small wins. Every time you face discomfort and come out stronger, acknowledge it. Whether it's completing a difficult workout, having a tough conversation, or taking a bold step, celebrate your courage. Take a moment to reflect on the proudest moments of your life. How many of them came easily? Chances are, the moments that stand out are the ones you fought for. The degree you earned after years of study, the marathon you trained for, the relationship you nurtured through ups and downs. These achievements were meaningful, not in spite of the struggle, but because of it. Discomfort gives value to accomplishment. Without it, success feels hollow. A life spent avoiding discomfort may seem appealing at first, but over time, it leads to boredom, dissatisfaction, and a sense of stagnation. Comfort zones, by definition, are limiting. They keep you safe, but small. Consider the cost of avoiding discomfort. Dreams abandoned because they felt too risky. Relationships lost because honest conversations felt too hard. Potential untapped because failure felt too scary. The price of avoiding discomfort is the life you could have lived. Embracing discomfort doesn't mean seeking out pain for its own sake. It means intentionally stepping into challenges that align with your values and goals. Here are some ways to make discomfort a part of your growth. 1. Set stretch goals. Aim for goals that push you slightly beyond your current abilities. These stretch goals challenge you without overwhelming you. 2. Embrace the beginner's mindset. Trying new things can be humbling, but it's also rewarding. Allow yourself to be bad at something before you get good at it. 3. Seek constructive feedback. Feedback can be uncomfortable, but it's essential for growth. Instead of avoiding it, seek it out and use it to improve. 4. Reflect on your growth. Take time to journal or meditate on how challenges have shaped you. Recognizing your progress reinforces the value of discomfort. The power of discomfort lies in its ability to transform you. Every struggle you face has the potential to make you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. When you stop running from discomfort and start leaning into it, you unlock your greatest potential. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the catalyst. It's the soil in which resilience grows, the forge in which character is shaped, and the path through which meaning is found. The next time you're faced with a challenge, don't ask, "How can I avoid this?" Instead, ask, "What can I become because of this?" lean into discomfort. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Chapter 4. Happiness is overrated. Happiness. It's the elusive goal we're all told to chase. From the moment we're young, society whispers, or shouts, that life's ultimate purpose is to be happy. But what if happiness isn't all it's cracked up to be? What if the relentless pursuit of it is actually leading us astray? Happiness, as sold to us, is often fleeting and conditional. It's tied to external circumstances, a promotion, a new relationship, a dream vacation. But the moment those things fade, so too does our happiness. Chasing happiness becomes like trying to catch smoke. The harder you grasp, the quicker it slips through your fingers. The modern obsession with happiness is, in many ways, a trap. Social media exacerbates this, painting a picture of other people's lives that seem perpetually joyful and perfect. But this curated image is an illusion. Behind every smiling selfie lies struggle. Behind every achievement lies effort and sacrifice. The more we compare ourselves to these idealized versions of happiness, the more dissatisfied we become. We begin to believe that if we're not constantly happy, something must be wrong with us. But unhappiness isn't a defect, it's a natural part of life. Instead of asking, "How can I be happy?" perhaps the better question is, "What gives my life meaning?" Happiness and meaning aren't the same. Happiness is often about feeling good in the moment, pleasure, ease, and satisfaction. Meaning, on the other hand, is about purpose, connection, and contribution. It's about enduring discomfort, struggle, or even pain for something greater than yourself. Consider the difference between a parent staying up all night with a sick child and someone lounging on a beach. One experience might not be happy in the traditional sense, but it's deeply meaningful. The other, while pleasant, may feel hollow if it lacks connection or purpose. When we focus solely on happiness, we risk missing out on the richness of a meaningful life. The pursuit of happiness often prioritizes immediate gratification, while the pursuit of meaning requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to embrace life's complexities. Ironically, some of the most meaningful experiences in life come not from ease, but from adversity. Challenges force us to grow, to confront our limitations, and to discover strengths we didn't know we had. Think about a time when you overcame a major obstacle, whether it was a professional setback, a health crisis, or a personal loss. It probably wasn't happy, but it was transformative. Those moments shape us in ways that comfort and convenience never could. This is why happiness can be overrated. It's not that happiness is bad, it's just incomplete. A life focused solely on happiness is like a diet of only desserts. It's sweet at first, but ultimately unsatisfying. To free ourselves from the happiness trap, we must redefine what happiness means. Instead of seeing it as a constant state of bliss, we can view it as a byproduct of living authentically and meaningfully. Happiness isn't something you achieve by chasing it. It emerges naturally when you align your life with your values, cultivate deep relationships, and engage in work or activities that matter to you. It's less about feeling good all the time and more about feeling whole. Here are some ways to shift your perspective on happiness. 1. Accept the ebb and flow. Life is not meant to be a constant high. Just as seasons change, so do our emotions. Instead of resisting sadness, anger, or frustration, embrace them as natural parts of the human experience. 2. Focus on contribution, not consumption. Many people equate happiness with acquiring things, money, possessions, accolades, but true fulfillment often comes from giving, whether it's your time, energy, or love. 3. Find joy in the process, not the outcome. Society conditions us to believe that happiness lies at the end of the road, when we get the job, the partner, or the perfect house. But real joy is found in the journey, in the daily moments of connection and growth. The relentless pursuit of happiness can be exhausting. The more we tell ourselves we should be happy, the more pressure we create. Letting go of that pursuit is liberating. When you stop chasing happiness, you make space for something deeper. You begin to appreciate life as it is, rather than constantly wishing it were different. You start to see the beauty in imperfection, the lessons in struggle, and the value in simply being. Practical steps to embrace meaning over happiness. 1. Reflect on your values. Take time to identify what matters most to you. Are you living in alignment with those values? If not, what small changes can you make? 2. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude doesn't erase life's challenges, but it shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present. By appreciating what you have, you create a foundation for deeper contentment. 3. Build connections. Happiness derived from material things is fleeting, but relationships provide lasting fulfillment. Invest in meaningful connections with family, friends, and community. 4. Embrace impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Not happiness, not sadness, not even life itself. By accepting impermanence, you can find peace in the present moment. In the end, the goal isn't to banish happiness or to glorify struggle. It's to live a life that feels rich and meaningful, one that embraces the full spectrum of human experience. Happiness will come and go, like waves on the shore. But meaning, anchored in purpose, connection, and growth, can sustain you through calm seas and storms alike. So stop chasing happiness. Instead, chase a life that matters. The happiness you seek may just find you along the way. Chapter 5. The Freedom of Letting Go. There's a strange paradox in life. The more tightly we hold on to something, the more it slips away. Whether it's control, possessions, relationships, or past grievances, clinging too hard often leads to anxiety, frustration, and unhappiness. Letting go, on the other hand, can feel terrifying. It requires us to relinquish what's familiar and face the unknown. Yet, in the act of letting go, we often find freedom, a lightness that allows us to move forward and embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack. Each unresolved issue, unspoken resentment, or unmet expectation is a rock added to the load. Over time, the weight becomes unbearable, but we seldom stop to ask, do I really need to carry this? Emotional baggage isn't just metaphorical, it has real effects. It drains our energy, clouds our judgment, and keeps us stuck in the past. Holding on to pain, grudges, or regrets doesn't change what happened. It only prolongs our suffering. But letting go doesn't mean forgetting or pretending things didn't hurt. It means choosing not to let those things control us anymore. It's an act of liberation, not denial. Letting go is hard because it feels like losing something: our sense of identity, our sense of justice, or the comfort of familiarity. Fear of the unknown. Letting go often means stepping into uncertainty. What will life look like without this job, relationship, or belief? The fear of what lies ahead keeps us clinging to what's behind. Attachment to control. We like to believe we're in charge of our lives. Letting go feels like surrendering that control, even though much of life is beyond our control anyway. Ego and pride. Sometimes we hold on to grudges or failures because they reinforce a narrative. I was right, and they were wrong. Or, I can't let this go because it defines me. But clinging to these things only binds us. True freedom lies in release. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making room. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for new opportunities, perspectives, and growth. 1. Peace of mind. Letting go of grudges or regrets silences the constant mental chatter that drains you. You free yourself from the endless cycle of rumination. 2. Emotional resilience. Letting go helps you accept that life won't always go as planned. This acceptance builds strength, allowing you to navigate future challenges with grace. 3. Greater clarity. When you stop fixating on the past or what you can't control, you gain a clearer view of the present and can make decisions that align with your values. 4. Authenticity. Letting go of societal expectations or outdated beliefs allows you to live more authentically, embracing who you truly are. Letting go is an active process, not a passive one. It's a choice you make, often repeatedly, as you work through the layers of attachment. 1. Releasing expectations. Much of our pain comes from unmet expectations of ourselves, others, or life itself. Letting go means accepting people and situations as they are, not as we wish them to be. Ask yourself, am I holding on to an expectation that no longer serves me? 2. Forgiving others and yourself. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful forms of letting go. It doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It means freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. Self-forgiveness is equally vital. You are not your mistakes. Holding on to guilt only stunts your growth. 3. Detaching from outcomes. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you do your best and release your attachment to the result. You can't control everything, and that's okay. Practice asking, have I done what I can? If the answer is yes, let go of the rest. 4. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. By appreciating the present moment, you loosen the grip of past hurts or future worries. Practical exercises for letting go. 1. Mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness helps you observe your thoughts without judgment, teaching you to let go of mental clutter. Start with 5 minutes a day, focusing on your breath and noticing when your mind clings to a thought. Gently bring it back to the present. 2. Write and release. Journaling is a powerful way to process emotions. Write down what you're holding on to, whether it's anger, fear, or regret. Then, symbolically release it by tearing up the paper, burning it, safely, or simply closing the journal. 3. Declutter your space. Physical clutter often mirrors mental clutter. Letting go of unnecessary possessions can be a tangible way to practice release. 4. Set boundaries. Letting go sometimes means stepping away from toxic relationships or environments. Saying no to what drains you is saying yes to your well-being. At its core, letting go is about acceptance. It's about making peace with reality instead of resisting it. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to a life you don't want. It means acknowledging where you are right now and working from there, free from the weight of unnecessary baggage. When you let go, you're not losing control. You're gaining it. You're choosing what deserves your energy and attention. You're reclaiming your power to live intentionally, not reactively. Imagine waking up tomorrow with nothing weighing you down. No resentment, no regrets, no need to control every outcome. Imagine the lightness, the freedom, the clarity. That's the gift of letting go. It's not easy, and it's not instant. But with practice, it becomes a way of life. One where you're free to move forward, unburdened, and open to what's next. Let go, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to truly be free. Chapter 6. Failure is your friend. Failure. The very word feels heavy, like a door slamming shut on our hopes and ambitions. From a young age, we're taught to fear it, to avoid it at all costs. We strive for perfection, shun mistakes, and celebrate success as the ultimate validation of our worth. But what if we've been looking at failure all wrong? What if, instead of seeing it as an enemy, we embraced it as a teacher, a guide, and even a friend? Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the same journey. Every great achievement, every groundbreaking discovery, and every transformative innovation is built on a foundation of missteps, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Consider Thomas Edison's famous response when asked about his many failed attempts to invent the light bulb. "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This perspective transforms failure from a dead end into a stepping stone. It reminds us that failure isn't final. It's formative. It shapes us, builds resilience, and pushes us to grow in ways that success alone never could. The fear of failure is deeply ingrained in us. It's not just about the loss of a goal. It's about what failure means to us. 1. Ego and identity. We often tie our self-worth to our achievements. Failing can feel like a personal indictment. I failed, therefore, I'm a failure. 2. Judgment and shame. Society tends to glorify winners and stigmatize those who stumble. The fear of being judged or ridiculed can paralyze us. 3. Fear of the unknown. Failure can leave us in uncharted territory, forcing us to confront uncertainty. But these fears are often rooted in perception, not reality. Failure doesn't define us. Our response to it does. Failure isn't just inevitable, it's invaluable. It teaches us lessons that success never can. 1. Clarity through contrast. Failure reveals what doesn't work, narrowing the path to what does. It's a process of elimination that sharpens our focus and refines our strategy. 2. Resilience and grit. Every time we fail and get back up, we grow stronger. Failure tests our resolve, building the mental and emotional muscles needed to persevere. 3. Humility and self-awareness. Failure grounds us, reminding us of our limitations and prompting introspection. It's a humbling force that keeps arrogance in check. 4. Creativity and innovation. Some of the most innovative ideas arise from failed attempts. When things don't go as planned, we're forced to think outside the box and explore new possibilities. History is full of individuals who turned failure into greatness. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was rejected by multiple publishers before her books became a global phenomenon. Her failures didn't stop her, they fueled her determination. Michael Jordan, often regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time, famously said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job because she was deemed unfit for TV. Today, she's one of the most influential media figures in the world. These stories aren't exceptions. They're examples of what's possible when failure is embraced, not feared. One of the most powerful ways to reframe failure is to see it as feedback. Every setback carries a lesson if we're willing to look for it. Ask yourself after a failure, what can I learn from this? What went wrong, and how can I improve? What strengths did I discover in the process? Failure isn't an endpoint, it's a checkpoint. It's a chance to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. To make failure your friend, you must shift your mindset and embrace it as a natural part of growth. 1. Reframe your definition of success. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about persistence, learning, and progress. Redefine success as the courage to keep trying, regardless of the outcome. 2. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness when you fail. Remember that failure is a sign you're challenging yourself and stepping outside your comfort zone. 3. Celebrate effort, not just results. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Recognize the courage it takes to try, even if you don't succeed. 4. Surround yourself with resilience. Share your failures with supportive people who encourage growth. Normalize conversations about setbacks to reduce their stigma. When you stop fearing failure, you unlock a fearless mindset. This doesn't mean recklessness. It means embracing calculated risks, knowing that even if you fail, you'll grow stronger. Imagine living a life unafraid of falling short. You'd take more chances, pursue bigger dreams, and push past limitations. Failure wouldn't hold you back. It would propel you forward. The most successful people aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who fail forward. They see each setback as a stepping stone, each mistake as a lesson. So the next time you stumble, don't despair. Instead, ask, What is this failure here to teach me? When you make failure your friend, you discover that it's not an obstacle but a pathway, a bridge to growth, resilience, and eventual success. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it guide you to a life that's not just successful, but meaningful. Chapter 7. The Myth of Perfection. Perfection. The very word seems aspirational, like a glittering ideal we should all strive to achieve. It promises a life free from flaws, mistakes, and criticism, a life where everything aligns seamlessly. But chasing perfection is like chasing a mirage in the desert. The closer you think you are, the further it slips away. What's worse, the pursuit of perfection often leaves us drained, dissatisfied, and disconnected from what truly matters. What if perfection isn't the goal, but the obstacle? What if the cracks and imperfections in life are not flaws to be fixed, but textures to be embraced? The myth of perfection is rooted in the belief that flawless outcomes lead to happiness, success, and approval. But let's dissect this illusion. 1. Perfection is unattainable. Life is inherently messy, unpredictable, and full of variables beyond our control. Perfection assumes that everything can be planned and executed without error, a standard that's impossible to meet. 2. Perfection is subjective. What one person sees as perfect might appear flawed to another. Beauty, success, and achievement are deeply personal concepts, shaped by individual experiences and values. 3. Perfection is stifling. The pursuit of perfection often leads to procrastination or inaction. When we're afraid of falling short, we hesitate to even start. Chasing perfection doesn't elevate us, it paralyzes us. Despite its impossibility, the myth of perfection is deeply ingrained in us. It's reinforced by societal norms, cultural expectations, and our own inner critic. 1. Fear of judgment. Perfectionism often stems from a desire to be accepted or admired. We fear that showing our flaws will lead to rejection or ridicule. 2. Comparison culture. Social media and modern life amplify the illusion of perfection. We see curated glimpses of others' lives and believe our own messy reality doesn't measure up. 3. Control and security. Striving for perfection gives us a false sense of control. If we can make everything perfect, we think, we can avoid pain, failure, or disappointment. But the truth is, imperfection is inevitable. The sooner we accept this, the freer we become. The pursuit of perfection comes at a steep price. 1. Emotional exhaustion. Constantly striving to meet unrealistic standards is mentally and emotionally draining. It can lead to anxiety, burnout, and self-doubt. 2. Missed opportunities. Waiting for the perfect moment or trying to perfect every detail often means delaying action or missing chances to learn and grow. 3. Stifled creativity. Creativity thrives in imperfection. The fear of making mistakes or falling short of perfection inhibits experimentation and innovation. 4. Strained relationships. Perfectionism can extend to how we expect others to behave. Holding ourselves and others to impossible standards creates tension and disappointment. If perfection is a myth, then imperfection is the reality, and it's a beautiful one. When we embrace imperfection, we allow ourselves to live more fully, authentically, and joyfully. 1. Imperfection fosters connection. Vulnerability is the foundation of meaningful relationships. When we share our flaws and struggles, we create space for others to do the same. 2. Imperfection fuels growth. Mistakes and setbacks are where growth happens. They teach us resilience, adaptability, and the courage to try again. 3. Imperfection inspires creativity. Some of the world's greatest art, music, and literature are celebrated precisely because they're raw, unpolished, and human. 4. Imperfection brings freedom. When we stop chasing perfection, we free ourselves to focus on what truly matters: connection, passion, and purpose. Shifting away from perfectionism requires conscious effort and a willingness to let go of deeply ingrained beliefs. Here are steps to help you embrace imperfection. 1. Redefine success. Instead of aiming for flawlessness, aim for progress, growth, or completion. Success doesn't mean perfect execution, it means moving forward. 2. Celebrate effort over outcomes. Recognize the courage it takes to try, even if the result isn't perfect. Effort and persistence are worth celebrating in their own right. 3. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you make mistakes. Treat yourself as you would a friend, with understanding and encouragement rather than criticism. 4. Focus on the big picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? This perspective can help you let go of minor imperfections. 5. Take imperfect action. Perfectionists often procrastinate, waiting for the right moment or the perfect plan. Challenge yourself to take action, even if it feels messy or incomplete. The Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi celebrates imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. It finds beauty in the cracks of a broken vase, the weathered texture of an old wooden table, and the asymmetry of nature. What if we viewed our own lives through this lens? What if, instead of hiding our flaws, we highlighted them as part of our story? What if we saw imperfection not as something to fix, but as something to honor? Imagine a life where you no longer feel the pressure to be perfect. A life where you take risks, make mistakes, and laugh at your missteps. A life where you focus on what brings you joy, not what earns you approval. This isn't a fantasy. It's a choice. By letting go of perfectionism, you give yourself permission to live authentically and fully. Perfection is a myth, but imperfection is magic. It's where life happens, where connections are forged, and where growth takes root. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you discover the freedom to be yourself, a person who is, and always will be, beautifully imperfect. Chapter 8. Authenticity over approval. Everywhere we turn, society whispers, or sometimes shouts, a singular message: be likable. From childhood, we are taught to fit in, to meet expectations, to avoid rocking the boat. The result? Many of us wear masks, suppressing our true selves in favor of external validation. But this pursuit of approval comes at a cost. It distances us from who we really are and what truly matters. The truth is, approval is fleeting, but authenticity endures. When we let go of the need to please others, we open the door to a life of deeper meaning, joy, and freedom. Seeking approval isn't inherently wrong. It's part of being human. We're social creatures wired to seek connection and belonging. But when the desire for approval becomes a driving force, it can trap us in cycles of self-doubt and inauthenticity. Here's why approval seeking can be so damaging. 1. It's unsustainable. No matter how hard you try, you can't please everyone. Opinions are subjective, and what satisfies one person may disappoint another. 2. It's exhausting. Constantly adapting to meet others' expectations drains your energy. You end up living someone else's life instead of your own. 3. It's hollow. External validation provides temporary satisfaction, but it doesn't nourish your soul. True fulfillment comes from aligning with your own values and desires. Authenticity requires courage. It means showing up as you are, even when it's uncomfortable. It means prioritizing your truth over others' opinions. Why is authenticity so powerful? 1. Authenticity builds trust. People are drawn to those who are genuine. When you're authentic, you inspire trust and foster deeper, more meaningful connections. 2. Authenticity is liberating. Pretending to be someone you're not is a heavy burden. Living authentically allows you to shed that weight and embrace freedom. 3. Authenticity leads to alignment. When your actions align with your values, you create a life that feels meaningful and true to you. 4. Authenticity is resilient. Approval is fragile. It depends on others' whims. Authenticity, however, is unshakable because it comes from within. Despite its benefits, authenticity can feel risky. Why? 1. Fear of rejection. Being authentic means being vulnerable. It opens the door to criticism or rejection, which can feel deeply personal. 2. Cultural conditioning. Many of us grow up in environments that reward conformity and discourage individuality. Breaking free from these norms requires unlearning old habits. 3. The lure of comparison. In a world dominated by curated social media feeds, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others and feeling inadequate. But the risks of authenticity pale in comparison to the cost of living a life that isn't your own. Moving from approval-seeking to authenticity is a process. It requires self-reflection, intentionality, and a willingness to let go of old patterns. Here are steps to guide you. 1. Know yourself. Authenticity starts with self-awareness. Reflect on your values, passions, and beliefs. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? What do I stand for? 2. Set boundaries. Being authentic doesn't mean saying yes to everyone. In fact, it often requires saying no. Protect your energy by setting boundaries that align with your values. 3. Stop apologizing for who you are. You don't need to justify your preferences, interests, or choices to others. Own your truth unapologetically. 4. Detach from external validation. Instead of seeking approval from others, focus on self-approval. Learn to value your own opinion more than the opinions of others. 5. Surround yourself with authenticity. Spend time with people who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Authentic relationships create a safe space for growth and self-expression. Authenticity and vulnerability go hand in hand. To be authentic, you must be willing to show your imperfections, admit your mistakes, and share your fears. While vulnerability can feel uncomfortable, it's a source of immense strength. When you allow yourself to be seen as you truly are, you pave the way for deeper connections and personal growth. As Brené Brown, a leading researcher on vulnerability, puts it, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. Living authentically transforms your life in profound ways. 1. Peace of mind. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, you experience a sense of inner calm and contentment. 2. Purposeful living. Authenticity allows you to focus on what truly matters to you, creating a life of purpose and fulfillment. 3. Stronger relationships. Authenticity attracts people who appreciate you for who you are, leading to deeper and more meaningful connections. 4. Resilience in the face of criticism. When you're authentic, criticism feels less personal. You recognize that others' opinions reflect their perspectives, not your worth. Imagine a life where you no longer feel the need to impress others. A life where you wake up each day confident in your values, your choices, and your path. This isn't a fantasy. It's the reality of living authentically. When you prioritize authenticity over approval, you give yourself the gift of freedom. The freedom to be yourself, to pursue your passions, and to live a life that feels true. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. Your authenticity is your superpower. It's what makes you unique, relatable, and human. So let go of the masks, the expectations, and the need to please. Be yourself, unapologetically and wholeheartedly. Because at the end of the day, the only approval that truly matters is your own. Chapter 9. Living a life of purpose. In a world preoccupied with the pursuit of happiness, purpose often takes a back seat. We chase fleeting joys, thinking they will sustain us, only to find ourselves restless when the thrill fades. What if happiness isn't the ultimate goal, but a byproduct of something deeper? A life rooted in purpose isn't just more fulfilling, it's more resilient, meaningful, and true. Living a life of purpose isn't about grand gestures or world-changing achievements. It's about aligning your actions with your values, finding meaning in your experiences, and contributing in ways that matter to you. It's the compass that guides you through life's storms and the anchor that keeps you grounded when the waves get rough. Happiness is a seductive ideal, marketed as the ultimate destination. But there's a problem. Happiness is temporary. 1. It's situational. Happiness often depends on external circumstances, a promotion, a relationship, or a sunny vacation. When those circumstances change, so does the feeling. 2. It's fleeting. The human brain is wired for adaptation. What excites us today becomes mundane tomorrow, leaving us chasing the next high. 3. It's shallow without purpose. Without a deeper sense of meaning, happiness feels hollow. It's like eating dessert without ever getting to the main course. Purpose, on the other hand, offers something lasting. It transcends the highs and lows of life, providing a sense of direction even in challenging times. Living with purpose doesn't mean having all the answers or adhering to a rigid life plan. It's about knowing what truly matters to you and letting that guide your choices. 1. Purpose is personal. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or universally admired. It might be raising a family, pursuing a creative passion, or contributing to your community. 2. Purpose is evolving. As you grow, your purpose may change. What drives you at one stage of life might shift in another, and that's okay. 3. Purpose is meaningful. It connects your actions to a greater sense of significance, whether through helping others, expressing your unique talents, or simply living authentically. A life of purpose is not only richer, but also more resilient. Here's why. 1. Purpose gives clarity. When you know what matters most, decisions become easier. You can prioritize with confidence, saying yes to what aligns and no to what doesn't. 2. Purpose fuels perseverance. Challenges are inevitable, but purpose gives you the strength to keep going. It reminds you why you started and why it's worth continuing. 3. Purpose creates fulfillment. Happiness might fade, but fulfillment lingers. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing your life has meaning, even if it's not always easy. 4. Purpose transcends self-interest. Purpose often involves contributing to something greater than yourself, whether it's your family, community, or a cause you care about. This connection fosters a sense of belonging and significance. If living with purpose sounds daunting, take heart. Purpose isn't something you have to find. It's something you uncover. It's already within you, waiting to be realized. 1. Reflect on your values. What principles matter most to you? What do you stand for? Your values are the foundation of your purpose. 2. Examine your passions. What lights you up? What activities make time disappear? Your passions often point to your purpose. 3. Consider your strengths. What are you naturally good at? What unique skills or perspectives do you bring to the world? Purpose often lies at the intersection of passion and ability. 4. Look for patterns. Reflect on the moments in your life that felt most meaningful. What do they have in common? These clues can guide you toward your purpose. 5. Start small. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or all-encompassing. Start with small actions that align with your values and passions, and let them grow over time. Once you've identified your purpose, the next step is to live it. This requires intentionality and alignment. 1. Prioritize your time. Time is your most valuable resource. Invest it in activities that reflect your purpose and bring you closer to your goals. 2. Set meaningful goals. Break your purpose into actionable steps. What can you do today, this week, or this month to live more in alignment with your purpose? 3. Practice gratitude. Purpose thrives in an environment of appreciation. Take time to acknowledge the people, opportunities, and experiences that support your journey. 4. Be adaptable. Life is unpredictable, and purpose doesn't always unfold in a straight line. Stay open to new opportunities and perspectives that deepen your sense of meaning. One of the most profound aspects of purpose is its ability to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. When life gets hard, purpose offers perspective. 1. Challenges clarify priorities. Difficult times force us to confront what truly matters and let go of what doesn't. 2. Struggles build resilience. Overcoming obstacles strengthens your character and deepens your commitment to your purpose. 3. Adversity creates meaning. Many people find their greatest sense of purpose in response to life's hardships. It's often through struggle that we discover what we're truly capable of. Living with purpose isn't just about the present. It's about the legacy you leave behind. When you live authentically and meaningfully, you inspire others to do the same. 1. Your actions ripple outward. Every choice you make affects those around you. Purpose-driven living creates a positive ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate circle. 2. Your story matters. The way you live your life becomes part of the collective human story. Living with purpose adds depth and significance to that narrative. Living a life of purpose isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It's a commitment to authenticity, meaning, and impact. It's a choice to focus on what matters most, even when the path is uncertain. At the end of the day, purpose isn't about what you achieve. It's about how you live. It's about waking up each day with a sense of clarity, knowing that your actions reflect your values, and that your life, in all its imperfection, is deeply meaningful. Chapter 10. The Art of Caring Less. In a world that glorifies busyness and endless striving, the idea of caring less can sound counterintuitive, even reckless. Aren't we supposed to care deeply about our careers, our relationships, and the state of the world? Shouldn't we be passionate, driven, and committed? While these qualities have their place, there's a hidden power in letting go of the things that don't truly serve us. It's not about abandoning responsibility or neglecting what matters. It's about freeing ourselves from the weight of unnecessary concerns that drain our energy and cloud our judgment. The art of caring less is the practice of detaching from distractions, trivialities, and external pressures so we can focus on what truly aligns with our values and vision. It's about embracing a mindset that prioritizes quality over quantity, presence over perfection, and peace over productivity. We live in a culture that encourages us to care about everything. Social media bombards us with issues, opinions, and causes, each demanding our attention. Our inboxes fill up with tasks, emails, and commitments, making it easy to feel overwhelmed. We feel responsible for the emotions of others, for how we're perceived, and for constantly proving our worth. In this constant cycle, we become burnt out and disillusioned. But here's the truth. Caring about everything often means caring about nothing in the way that truly matters. When we spread ourselves too thin, we lose our focus. We dilute our energy and attention, scattering it across a multitude of things that don't add real value to our lives. Caring less isn't about apathy. It's about releasing the grip on things that aren't essential. The desire to care too much often stems from a few common fears and insecurities. 1. Fear of judgment. We're afraid that if we don't care about something, or if we don't care enough, we will be criticized or rejected. 2. Fear of missing out. FOMO. We worry that if we don't pay attention to every opportunity or piece of information, we'll fall behind or miss something important. 3. Desire for control. Caring excessively gives us the illusion of control over our lives. If we can fix everything, manage every situation, and stay on top of every detail, we believe we can ensure a predictable outcome. 4. External validation. We often seek approval through our willingness to care deeply about things that others value. This external validation becomes a measure of our worth, leading us to invest emotional energy in areas that don't truly serve us. These fears and desires push us into a cycle of overcare, where we stretch ourselves too thin, burn out, and neglect the things that really matter. Caring less begins with learning the power of detachment, not to be confused with indifference or neglect. Detachment is the ability to disengage from outcomes, judgments, and expectations while remaining fully present in the moment. It's about letting go of the need to control everything, allowing life to unfold naturally without forcing it into a rigid mold. Detachment allows you to prioritize what's truly important by letting go of the distractions and obligations that clutter your mind and drain your energy. When you stop caring about every little thing, you make space for the things that truly matter: your values, your passions, your well-being. Caring less doesn't mean becoming apathetic or disconnected. It's about redirecting your energy and attention to the things that truly nourish you. Here are some ways to practice the art of caring less while staying deeply connected to what matters. 1. Set boundaries. The first step to caring less is learning how to say no. Boundaries are essential for protecting your time, energy, and emotional health. You don't have to say yes to every request, invitation, or cause. Saying no isn't selfish. It's necessary for self-preservation. By setting clear boundaries, you preserve your energy for the people and pursuits that align with your true values. 2. Focus on what you can control. We often waste energy caring about things beyond our control: other people's opinions, global crises, or the outcomes of things we cannot influence. Instead, shift your focus to what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and responses. Caring about what you can control brings clarity and reduces anxiety. 3. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present and grounded, rather than worrying about the past or future. By tuning into the present moment, you detach from the mental noise and focus your attention on what's happening right now. This helps you conserve energy for what truly matters, rather than expending it on things that don't serve your well-being. 4. Let go of perfectionism. The pursuit of perfection often leads to exhaustion and dissatisfaction. Letting go of the need to get everything just right allows you to embrace imperfection and find peace in the process. You can still care about doing your best, but you release the idea that everything must be flawless to be valuable. 5. Reevaluate your priorities. Take time to reflect on what really matters to you. What are your core values? What do you want your life to stand for? By aligning your actions with your values, you naturally begin to care less about the superficial aspects of life and more about the things that truly align with your deeper purpose. One of the most profound benefits of caring less is the freedom it offers. When you stop carrying the weight of unnecessary concerns, you make space for joy, creativity, and peace. You free yourself from the constant pressure to meet expectations, to perform, or to prove yourself. Living with less attachment allows you to experience life more fully. You become more present, more open to new experiences, and less weighed down by worries about how things will turn out. This freedom doesn't come from neglecting responsibility. It comes from choosing to focus your energy on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't. Ultimately, the art of caring less isn't about apathy or disengagement. It's about choosing wisely what you invest your time, energy, and emotions in. It's about recognizing that your life is finite, and therefore, your energy is precious. By caring less about trivialities, you create space to care deeply about the things that bring you meaning, joy, and fulfillment. When you care less about the external noise, you gain the freedom to care more about your inner world, your values, your relationships, your growth. It's a shift from reactive living to intentional living. Caring less doesn't mean you don't care at all. It means letting go of the things that don't truly matter and focusing on what makes your life richer and more meaningful. The art of caring less is the art of living with intention, freedom, and purpose. By detaching from unnecessary concerns, you create space for the things that truly make life worth living. And in that space, you'll find more joy, more peace, and a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you. Conclusion. In the end, the art of caring less is not a call to indifference, but an invitation to live with greater intention and clarity. It's about shedding the weight of unnecessary worries, relinquishing control over things that lie beyond our reach, and redirecting our energy towards what truly nourishes us. By choosing to care less about the noise, we make room to care more deeply about the people, experiences, and values that define who we are. It's in this space of detachment, where we free ourselves from the pressure to be everything to everyone, that we discover the true essence of living. A life not governed by expectations, but shaped by purpose, presence, and a profound sense of inner peace. The power of caring less lies not in what we let go of, but in what we make space for, allowing us to live on our own terms and redefine happiness from the inside out.